Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to this theory tuition series where I'm working step by step through each of the ABRSM theory grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets and you can download those in US, letter or A4 and they accompany each step of this series. There's also a page with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials on that website, and you can also access information about the books that I have available. I've written how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and techniques on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to best make use of the time when it's actually exam day and you're working through your exam paper. So if you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find it all there. If you can give me a like, that would be really great, and subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more in store. And so now we're going to continue with the 2016 paper, Grade 5, Theory Paper C, and we're moving to question 3. So if you turn with me to page 17, we're going to be having a go at this question here on transposition. So I do suggest you have a crack at this yourself. First of all, it's always better to have a go. It doesn't matter if it goes a bit wrong in places. You'll learn better by your mistakes. So I'm hoping you've had a go of this, and now we're going to have a go at this together and just check through this. So we're going to be rewriting this Mozart Clarinet Concerto, an absolutely delicious piece of music, and we're going to transpose it up a minor third so that the player would read the notes that we write to make it sound at this pitch that's written. Now it's asked us not to use a key signature, but to remember to put in all the necessary sharps or flat signs. So we need to think about what key signature we might be needing and then apply it as accidentals, and then we need to just address all of these different accidentals in their version also. So at the moment we're in A major, and so A major up a minor third, so A up a minor third takes us to C. So actually we're moving to think in the key of C, which would have no key signature anyway, so there's nothing extra for us to add because C major has no sharps or flats. And now I'm just going to just map out the bars. I know they've given us 2 lines, but there's plenty of room on this first line. And that way I can keep all of the notes aligned and I'm not going to get lost and lose track where I'm already copying from. There's enough to think about without worrying about getting lost in the music. And so here we go. So we're moving up a minor third. So we're moving 1, 2, 3 steps up the stave. So 1, 2, 3. So everything's moving up a line or up a space. And then we need to just think about what the accidentals will be doing. So up a third from there, and then up a third from here. Now you'll notice in the original the F sharp has been lowered by a natural sign, and so we now need to lower this a semitone. It's a natural at the moment, so a natural becomes lower by a semitone if we add a flat. Okie dokie, so down a step, next door down a step, next door down a step, and we've got the same scenario. Here this is a C sharp that's been lowered by a semitone by adding a natural sign, and so this E natural will be lowered by a semitone if we add a flat sign. You can see we've got a C sharp that's been lowered by a natural sign. And so our, for example, our F sharp in bar 1 has been lowered, and so our A will be lowered by a semitone there. So if you just visualise it, that might help. So let's see what else happens. So next door down a step, which should take us to where we started, and so we know we're correct. Up a fifth, no, up a seventh, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, so we need 2 ledger lines, just count that carefully. Next door note, and so again, this was a G sharp in the key signature, it's been lowered by a natural sign. This is a B natural, so we need to lower that by a flat sign. That's now a semitone altered. Next door note takes us back to where we were on the A, and now this note here is down a third, and so this was a D natural that's been raised by a sharp. This is an F natural at present. We need to raise that, so we will also add a sharp there. Now we progress up a step. I'm keeping as aligned as I can, just so I know exactly where I am in their originals, just so I'm not copying incorrectly. So up a third takes us to B. This G sharp has been lowered, so we will lower this by adding a flat. So now this jumps up to E, and this is C sharp lowered by natural, so we now lower that by adding a flat. Jump up a third. I'm just doing the note heads, I'll worry about the stems afterwards. I'm just thinking of one thing at a time, that's enough. Just take it a step at a time so we don't get confused by thinking about too many things. So next door down a step. So the F sharp, sorry, the D, oh now here, this D sharp is a little bit redundant really. All as it's doing is telling us that the D sharp here has been cancelled, which it already has done by the bar line. So you could just leave this as it is because the bar line's already cancelled our sharp. However, they've added a natural sign and I'm going to do the same thing. You could even just put it in brackets if you wanted to show that you know that that's not necessary. So now we need to go up a step, and then we need to go up a step, next door note. And so here the F sharp of the key signature has been lowered by a natural sign, and so this A natural we will lower by adding a flat sign. Down a third. So this one is now a C. We've gone down a fourth, just double check that. This is now gone up to a D, next door note up a step, and then next door note up a step. And so in the one we're copying from, the C sharp of the key signature has been lowered by adding a natural sign, and so we will lower this a semitone by adding a flat sign. There we go. And so that's all the hard thinking done. Now we've just got to add in our stems. The direction of the stems may have changed as we've gone up, so we may just need to bear that in mind. If we've gone above the middle line, we might need to change the direction of the stems. Now we're a little bit higher. So it looks to me like everything's going to have the stems coming downwards. Yep, so this one's changed. Everything's got the stems coming down because it's all above that middle line, which decides where we put the stems. So put some stems that I've missed. Bit of articulation. And we might as well just add the dynamic marking as well, and that's job done. So let's turn over the page and let's have a look at what's in store for this next question. So all of the questions now will be relating to this extract of music here. So this is a piece that was originally written for cello, but it's been adapted for trumpet. And so we've got a few general questions now that have been used in this extract. So let's have a look what we've got to answer. Now bear in mind that in the 2018 onwards exams, the newly revised theory exam syllabus will present all of these performance directions in multiple choice. However, we'll carry on and answer these as put here because it's good revision for us to do so. So I do suggest that you spend a good chunk of time revising, because it's all of your performance directions from grades 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I suggest that you group them thematically from all of the grades, maybe even colour code them, whatever it takes to help you to get to know these, because although it's multiple choice, that doesn't change the fact that you still need to know them. So with motion, we've got two words there. With, the con is with, and motion is our motto. You could also say with movement, that would be acceptable. Also, this one is not perhaps too difficult to see the link. Agitato means agitated. I guess you could also say restless. That's another way of explaining that. This is a fermata sign, and it means to pause or to hold the note longer than the actual timing of the note. So just hold the note. To sort of an artistic interpretation until you feel like it's sort of lingered long enough as a performer. So now complete the following statement, the triplet and the trumpet part of bar 1. So this triplet here, which is 3 quavers, 3/8 notes joined and given a triplet sign, means 3 quavers in the time of, so it's 3 in the time of 2, so we could say 3 quavers in the time of 2 quavers. That's sufficient, or 2/8 notes. You could also then just follow that progression through further, and you could say 1 crotchet or 1/4 note. Either of those, any of those will be acceptable. The maths is correct for any of those. Name the ornament in the trumpet part of bar 3. So bar 3, here's the ornament, not the performance direction, the ornament sign, and that's a turn. First came across that in grade 4. And so now we're going to look in a little bit more detail at some of the notes. So question B, part 1, asks us to rewrite the last 2 trumpet notes of bar 6. So we're writing these last 2 notes here as directed by this bracket and letter B, so that they sound at the same pitch, but we're using the tenor clef. So remember to put in the clef and the key signature. So the tenor clef has middle C based here on this second line down. So we'll just construct our clef. And we've got sort of a double bar line there. So we have a key signature of 2 sharps. So because the clef is now so much higher, we have to drop the F sharp. C, B, A, G, F sharp is second line from the bottom. C sharp is the line that our clef is centered around. And so just watch out, keep relating back to middle C so that you don't end up getting the wrong octave. So let's have a look at the notes that we're going to be writing. And so here is middle C, and we're starting with the CBA below middle C. So let's do that one straight away. So CBA below middle C is there. So we'll put a dot. And then here we're on the C, D, E, F above middle C. C, D, E, F. Oh. C, B, A, and then we want the F. And let's just double check. 1, 3, 5, 6 notes higher. 1, 3, 5, 6 notes higher. C, D, E, F. There we go. Just watching out where middle C is. There we go, and that's that one complete. And so now part 2 asks us give the technical names, so tonic, dominant and so on, of the 2 notes in the trumpet part of bar 2 marked X and Y. The key is D major, so before we even look at what notes we're after explaining, let's just write out, so D, E, F, G, A, B, C. D of course takes us full circle. That's the steps of the scale of D major. I know there are sharps, but your key signature will deal with that. So we've got the degrees of the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's look at bar 2, X and Y. So we have here an F and an F sharp, I know. So we've got an F, that's X, that's the F. So I'm just making a little note here that that's the F. And then Y is a C sharp as well. So there's a C sharp. So I know what we've got. So F is the 3rd degree of the scale. I know it's F sharp. And that's the median. That's the technical name. And then the C is the 7th degree of the scale, and that's the leading note which leads back to the tonic. There we go. So then let's have a look at part 3 of this question. All the notes in the piano part of bar 3 can be found in the scale of a certain minor scale. So let's have a look at bar 3, the piano part. So we've got a clue here, and we've also got our key signature, F sharps and C sharps. This clue here is what we're going to need to explain away. We have an E sharp. It's not possible to have an E sharp in the key signature without all of the other sharps that precede it. However, we can explain that as the raised 7th of a minor scale. So if E sharp is the 7th, then, so E sharp is the 7th, F sharp would be the 8th, so F sharp minor would have a key signature of F sharps, C sharps and G sharps, and then we have this raised 7th. There's no G sharp, but that's because there's no G in this particular bar. However, we do get a bit of a clue in the trumpet part, the G sharp is there, and so that confirms our suspicions. And so all of these notes in the piano part are part of F sharp minor. It's not absolutely every note of F sharp minor, but the notes that are in that bar can all be explained as part of that scale. So F sharp minor is the answer to that one. Let's crack on and have a go at section C. So then write as a breve or a double whole note, an enharmonic equivalent. So we need a note that sounds the same but is going to be written on a different part of the stave as the last trumpet note of the extract. So here we've got a B flat, which is a 7th above middle C. And so we could instead, so we're trying to explain a B flat but in different terms. So we could call it an A sharp. So we'll go for that one. It's the one above middle C. So there's our A. We need to make that into a double whole note or a breve, and then we sharpen it. Alternatively, an equally acceptable answer would be, instead of calling it a B flat, we could call it a C double flat. C flat flat. Not middle C, it's the octave above. Otherwise we've got the wrong pitch. So C double flat would also answer that question correctly. So now we've got a few general questions about the orchestra and instruments of the orchestra. The trumpet is a member of the brass family of standard orchestral instruments. The lowest sounding member of that family is the tuba, or I guess you could say the bass tuba. Either one of those will be acceptable. Name 2 standard orchestral percussion instruments. We need to choose one that produces sounds of definite pitch, so we would say that's tuned percussion, and indefinite pitch is untuned percussion. So can you play a tune or a melody? So we would say perhaps the definite pitch or the tune percussion could be glockenspiel. Just watch your spelling there. Marimba is also part of that family. Tubular bells. Anything basically that you hit that makes a tune. You could also say timpani. Although you don't play melodies on that, they tend to be tuned to the tonic and the dominant, sort of give that 1-5-1 strike in the percussion section. So indefinite pitch, now this is something that we can't play a melody on, there's no particular note, so it's just basic drums or of that ilk. So we could say a snare drum. The bass drum is also part of that. You could sort of get a little bit more obscure and move around the percussion section and think about the cymbal or the triangle, any of those, and there's no doubt others that would also be acceptable. So there we go. I do hope that you found that helpful. Please give me a like. I hope that you're enjoying this as much as I am. Please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more in store. Please do also visit sharonbill.com and make use of all the resource that's available there to help you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.